Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. Your home for all the latest news and conversation around your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. And this channel is powered by BetUS. Up to a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. It's all at BetUS. The link is in the description on this video. Who dat? Well, the Saints got the day started off on Thursday with a little bit of contract news. Pete Werner, Saints linebacker, in the final year of his rookie deal, has agreed to a 3-year, $25 million extension. Adam Schefter had the news first, and I really like this decision by the New Orleans Saints to do this now. We can talk about Werner. I'm going to talk about Werner, the player, but I want to talk about the timing first and the contract itself. So, a couple of things. In making this decision to extend Pete Werner now, going into the final year of his rookie deal, you are essentially not risking happen again what happened with Marcus Williams. You drafted Marcus Williams. He was a starter for you. He was a really good player, and he goes into free agency, you franchise tag him, and then he hits free agency. You can't agree on terms, and then he ends up with the Baltimore Ravens. So you effectively overpay for a season and then lose the player anyway. With Pete Werner, obviously, you weren't going to franchise tag Pete Werner after the season. The entirety of the contract you just gave him is $25 million. The franchise tag number for linebackers this year was over $24 million. So you weren't going to pay him that for one season. So if you let him play out this season and then make the decision after the year to sign him, or if you were going to sign him, there's always the possibility that you go into the offseason or into the season, Pete Werner has a great year, and then you end up paying more at the end of the season than you would have right now. So you're effectively saying, yes, we're taking a risk by paying you now because there's always the possibility the season could not go great for you, but there's also the possibility the other side of that, he has a great season. So it's managing risk like anything else in life. Like, what are you willing to pay for anything? What are you willing to risk for something? So that's where this comes in with Pete Werner. And when you look at the NFL linebacker contracts, you know, the $8 million a year thereabout that he's going to make, when you look at the average per year annual value for linebackers, that puts him pretty competitively where you would think he should be. I mean, Roquan Smith is getting $20 million a year, but if you look at like C.J. Mosley and DeMario Davis, they're each at 8.625. I mean, Pete Werner's getting just under that, so he's going to be smack dab in that range with guys like Levante David at 8.5 and Drake Greenlaw of the Niners, who's at 8.2. So this feels like a really good deal for the New Orleans Saints on a starting player, a guy who in 3 seasons has started 35 games for you. This is an affordable contract. You're not running the risk of losing him in free agency next year. So I like it. I like the way they do it. We'll see how with the new deal, how it's structured for this season, what it does. The Saints went into today with, about $14 million thereabouts in salary caps. Werner was set to count $1.8 million against the cap this year. So we'll see all the particulars about the deal and see what it means for this year and beyond. But we know one thing about the Saints. They'll manipulate numbers to make it work however they do. So there's just a couple of questions, and then we'll talk about Pete Werner, the player. One question very clearly is, how much longer is DeMario Davis going to play? And that's a big part of this as well. I mean, DeMario Davis has missed 1 game in his entire career due to injury. 1 game in his entire career, none due to injury. The only game he's ever missed in his career was due to COVID. And he continues to be an incredibly productive player for the Saints and one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I mean, this past year, he started all 17 games, had 121 tackles, which, by the way, was the second highest total of his entire career. You'd have to go back to his season with the Jets where he had 135. Think about that. The 121 tackles DeMario Davis had this past season was the second most of his career. He's only getting better as he's in his mid-30s. He's certainly showing no sign of regression, but how much longer does he want to play? And then you also signed Willie Gay this offseason to a 1-year deal, so you're going to see how this season plays out and then determine if you're going to extend Willie Gay to any type of long-term deal. But you've at least locked up Pete Werner now for the next 3 years, and you would assume that at some point over the next 3 years, DeMario Davis's career probably comes to an end. I mean, maybe not with the way he's playing, the level at which he's playing, but for a guy that is 35 years old right now, you'll be 36 in January. You wonder, is DeMario Davis going to play linebacker until he's 40? Probably not. So, Pete Werner, this contract probably outlasts DeMario Davis. And then, obviously, there's the Willie Gay question. Do you re-sign Willie Gay, and what does that mean for your linebacker room? Because if he leaves and at some point DeMario Davis retires, you've at least now built some stability at that position moving forward. Dennis Allen, who's the head coach, of course, and also manages the defense, talked about the decision to extend Pete Werner.
Up until the injury, I think he was performing at a really high level, and I think Pete's a guy that's going to be, a cornerstone piece for our defense as we move forward. Yeah, it's good to get a guy that you feel good about, that stands for all the things that you believe in and the way that we want to play football, and to be able to, lock one of those guys up for the future is good.
And one more from DA. He was asked about Werner, who's had a really good camp. You heard him mention it there until the injury that's kept him out just a little bit here, but he was having a really good camp until then. Did that sort of lock up their decision to extend him?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, right? I mean, Pete's played good football for us. So it's not like he didn't play good football for us last year. Would we have liked for it to maybe have been a little bit better? I think both of us would say, man, there's some areas that we can improve on, right? But we brought in, a guy like Willie Gay to come in and compete. I don't think that's any different than any other position. When we have good players and we have a chance to bring them in, we let them come in and we let them compete. And I think Pete responded well. So I don't know that it's necessarily because of the way that he responded. I think that was something that we would have been interested in doing regardless.
Two things. Number one, Pete Werner has been a productive player when he's been on the field, but he has faced injuries each of his NFL seasons. That probably ticks down his value a smidge. Had 62 tackles in his rookie season, 80 in his second year, 93 a year ago. So you continue to see his productivity increase, but he has missed 8 games throughout his career, through 3 seasons. He missed 2 games as a rookie. He missed 5 games in 2022, and then missed just 1 game a year ago. But he has missed time each of his 3 NFL seasons, so that's something worth filing away. But when Pete Werner's been on the field, it's undeniable. He's been a very productive player for you. It's a guy that the Saints were interested in investing in to keep as part of this organization as they move through whatever the next phase of that defense will look like. So Pete Werner, 3-year extension, staying with the New Orleans Saints. Thanks so much for watching the video. Remember, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And our channel is powered by BetUS. 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. All the info and the link in the description below.